In this video, I'm going to talk about self-worth goals. You know how some people use the term relationship goals when talking about certain people and their relationships? Well, in this video, I'm using the term self-worth goals to talk about certain people and their decision to step into their self-worth by transcending fear and committing to their life purpose and their spiritual path. For those of you that are interested in other people's journeys and also look at those journeys for encouragement and inspiration as well. Hi, I'm Nikki from HereToWakeUp.com, and I help people stay accountable and connected to Divine Spirit on their awakening journey. I've been spiritually awakened for 15 years now, self-realized for 10, and I am here to help and to be of service to kind-hearted souls that are ready to progress. So if that's you, welcome to my channel, The Healthy Wealthy Recluse. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. Make yourself at home. And I also want to say thank you so much to my new subscribers. I really appreciate you. On this channel, I make videos about spiritual wealth, healing, and relationships. So if you find that you like it here, let me know in the comments and consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Even dislikes help the channel. So thank you so much for watching all of this video. Okay, back to the topic, self-worth goals. Some examples to inspire. So I'm going to start with some examples in the area of spirituality. And I know there are many different figures that I could use as examples, but I decided to choose only two in this arena for very specific reasons. And then I'm going to look at some examples in the music industry. Okay, so the first figure on my list that I consider to be the ultimate example of self-worth goals is Yeshua of Nazareth. And yes, I know he's so much more than self-worth goals. The reason why he's at the top of this list is because he really knew his worth, because he really knew who he was. When he said, "I and my Father are one," he was very clear about his identity, which means that he was very clear about his value and his worth. Because when you're clear about who you really are, you're clear about your worth, because they go together like that. So if you've got the same value as the Creator, it really doesn't get any better than that. And Yeshua lived in this knowing and in this power, and he walked in this power, and he helped others to know it as well. He showed us the illusory nature of everything so that we could wake all the way up and really know our spiritual self-worth and how it extends beyond the material. Not wake up to a certain point and then stop. He wants us to wake all the way up so that we can get off the so-called karmic wheel. And why is that important that we get off the karmic wheel? Because as true children of the Creator, we are worth more than being continuously recycled into an upside down world of insanity, okay, for perpetuity. We're worth more than that. And what comes to mind as I'm saying this is the scene from Tron Legacy where Clue has, gathered all of the people in the game together, and he's repurposing them and reprogramming them. It's very symbolic of recycling and reincarnating, etc., etc. And so I'm so thankful that Yeshua made the decision to accept his mission to allow things to unfold and play out the way they were designed to, because it was probably very heavy, sometimes at least, to know what he was going to have to do for the universe. So that is why he's at the top of this list of self-worth goals. And if he can connect to the Creator and know his worth, then we can too. And he tells us that we can. So the second figure on this list that is also in the spiritual arena I think could be an example of self worth goals is Wayne Dyer. May he rest in peace. For those who are unaware, he is a popular spiritual teacher and author. And I thought of him for this list because of a decision that he made to walk away from a permanent paycheck as a tenured university professor so he could follow his inner calling to be an author in the spiritual field. I think that he started off more as like a self-help author, but over time his message, got deeper. I remember hearing some of his work when I first started my awakening journey, and it was very spiritual. But anyway, he walked away from permanent employment, from a permanent paycheck. And obviously, it seemed to work out well for him because he ended up selling like millions and millions of copies of his first book. And so he ended up making way more money than he was making before. So, it was good for him. Obviously, there were a lot of factors and different things at play that were involved in his success. But the main thing I want to focus on, and the reason why I thought of him for this list, is because he chose his desire to know his true self worth over financial security. Instead of just continuing on the path that he was used to, that was laid out for him, you know, he took a leap of faith, not on impulse and not by being reckless, but by following his intuition. It's one thing to walk away from industries and people that are shady and grimy, unstable, inconsistent. But if you have a permanent paycheck, would you be willing to walk away from that to follow, what you feel is your life purpose or to explore yourself, spiritually? What would you do? Let me know in the comments. Now I'm going to look at some examples of self worth goals from the music industry. Third figure on my list is Left Eye from TLC, or Lisa Lopez. May she rest in peace. And if you're not familiar with TLC, they are a female R&B group, sold tens of millions of records, very popular, very well loved. And you can Google them to find out more information. But the reason why I chose her for this list is because she is someone that decided to recognize her self worth and choose better for herself. According to what has been, shown in the media, we've seen that she's had her struggles, she's had her challenges, she's had demons to overcome and slay, just like all of us. She spoke about how she used to drink a lot and how that tended to cause issues for her. And then one day she woke up and she was just like, like enough. And she decided to really discover who she really is. So she's since made her transition, but at least she was on her path and at least she was on her spiritual journey. Now, the fourth figure on my list is Tina Turner. And the reason why I thought of her is because when I was recording the previous video to this one, Love Yourself Enough to Move On, which if you have not seen it yet, I will link it at the end of this video so you can watch it after you're finished watching this one. And while I was recording that video, her movie, What's Love Got to Do with It, popped into my head and it just dropped into my mind out of the blue because I haven't seen that movie in years. I can't even remember the last time I saw it. It wasn't anywhere on my radar. It just, like I said, dropped into my mind because Spirit was giving me a great example of someone who loved themselves enough to move on. And I had used the example of toxic romantic relationships, but I didn't include it in that video. So I'm including it here now. And so she is an example of self worth goals because she came to a choice point in her experience and she made the decision once and for all to recognize her self worth and save herself from a very toxic and abusive relationship and environment. And she turned to her spiritual practice to help her to do this. There are a few other artists that I could have mentioned, and maybe I will in another video. But if there's anyone that you think I missed that should be on this list, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I really, really do appreciate you taking the time for this because you really could be doing anything else. So thank you again. And remember to love yourself because that's the real wealth. And stay tuned for the next video. Take care.